What's on Giglio's card sports? What's on Giglio's card spreads? What's on Giglio's card and parlays?
I'm not really sure what else you could ask for in a gambling podcast. Week one, giving out winners to the Barracuda Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Check. Week two, Josh Goodson comes on, and what do we have here? A first round leader, Russell Henley scratcher. So again, if you're in this space, this gambling space, and what else do you want out of a podcast other than ahead of time getting a winner and a first round leader?
You're welcome. Is that what I should say? Is that what we should say? We both won last week.
You had a productive week, more productive than I did, but you had a productive week. I'm ecstatic that you hit your first round leader legitimately this time because it helped me, actually, as opposed to just when you're rubbing it in my face that you've hit a first round leader.
I got we'll talk about it last week. I got very close to sending out a very early folks.
Yes.
Because my guy,
yes,
Steven Yeager, was like 6 under through 6. And then he must have fell apart on the back, but it was very close to getting even bigger payout. But no, it's always good to hit a first round leader because you have the bankroll for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
You're done. You know what you're doing by 5 o'clock on Thursday.
Perfect. All right, let's see if I can make this a little bit zoomier. So here's your card from last week. You're plus 679. Davis Thompson's so close to getting that top 20.
Mm-hmm.
Does not come home. Justin Suh didn't make the cut. Adam Scott did.
Mm-hmm.
For bookkeeping purposes here. There were 11 players in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Which means we take 10, we divide it by 11, and we multiply it by what you could have won.
Sure.
Gets us to 254. Aberg did not come home, although he did play much better than he did when I picked him. Russell Henley did. So that gives us back 1,025 for that. And then the other 12 first round leaders were minus 300, which gets us to a nice, tidy plus 679 for the Wyndham Championship. We go through my card now. I only had 3 bets last week because I deferred to you.
Yeah.
Because you are better at first round leaders than I am. So I deferred to you. Alex Smalley, the member, did not make the cut. Didn't play poorly. Right. But did not make the cut. I think there was a little too much hometown pressure there. Brendan Todd did make the top 10. Played well. Again, though, there were 11 in the top 10, so that 490 gets reduced to 445. Denny Mack, in spite of me cheering him on in his practice round on Wednesday, did not make the cut. Did not make the cut.
Do you think you put too much pressure on him?
I don't know if I put too much pressure on him or if he's putting too much pressure on himself. He's kind of sort of in the tank.
I think he's done, and we talked about this last week.
Yeah, and I don't know. I kind of sort of feel bad, but I was just trying to encourage him, right?
I don't think you did anything wrong.
So the previous week, I had Ludwig Aberg and Lucas Glover to win because Lucas Glover's been molten hot. Obviously, so has Aberg. Mm-hmm. Glover, of course, ends up winning the Wyndham Championship. You'd think I'd learn from my picking a guy a week early. Maybe we can apply some of that logic. To this week, we have the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Mm-hmm. This is the first of the playoff events. So there's only 70 players in the field. Mm-hmm. This is a TPC course.
No cut.
And there is no cut.
Remember that. And I think that's important when it comes to these top 20 plays and top 10 plays.
So we are in a TPC course, but I want to go through our first round leaders, which will be yours.
Okay. Top
20, top 10, and I'm going to try to pick 2 winners this week because I'm also getting into a gambling conundrum, which we can potentially talk through here this week on Picks and Pizza. But first, just last week on Picks and Pizza, we had talked about you don't mind dumping the Gatorade early.
No, I don't.
Like when you have a first round leader and there's like 3 holes left, you live to send the folks text with the eyeball emojis. Like you have 0 problems jinxing anything.
Correct.
I, on the other hand, I won't even talk to people. You'll be texting me being like, "Oh, so and so looks good," and I'm like,
no response.
Yeah, I will not even respond to you because I have no time for your bullshit when it comes to that. Okay, I think Justin Thomas would like to have a word with Jim Nance.
Oh God,
because clearly we had a situation this week where the Gatorade was dumped and the clock was not at 0. So let me see if I can pull this up because if I'm JT, I'm like on the phone today with Jim Nance being like, hey, Well,
buddy.
what was this all about? Why are you trying to jinx me? All right, let's see if I can get it from the beginning.
For Eagle. Keep going. Hello, Memphis.
Hello, Memphis. No. So he eagles the par 5 15th. And now he's at number 70, which was the cutoff to make Memphis this week, which, of course, he did not make Memphis this week because then he had a very manageable par 3, which he ended up not scoring well on. Then he has the 17th, which I think he scrambled for par.
Maybe good par.
So then he needed a birdie on 18.
Potentially he could have got in with help.
Right.
But yes, a birdie probably would have solidified it going into 18.
So
that's correct.
Now he's on 18, which is a par 5 for the members because there's like a little creek down at the bottom. And for the pros, though, it's a par 4. It's like a 505 par 4. Hits an errant tee shot. Now he's in the pine straw. Hits this amazing shot out of the pine straw to get to the front of the green. But now he needs to chip in. Well, just so happens to be Justin Thomas. And he's got a chance at that. Hits the pin, lips out, ends up at number 71. And all I can think of was on the 15th hole, Jim Nance on the CBS broadcast going, hello, Memphis. I would have been like,
brutal.
Sir, get your mouth off of my ball. Don't you dare talk to me during this.
Brutal. And he was even, when they had the rain delay, Justin Thomas was tweeting like, fingers crossed. Because I think he needed
like somebody to fall out of the top 10
bogey or something like that,
or he needed someone else to win other than Lucas Glover.
I think if Billy Horschel had won or something like that,
also would have helped.
The math would have changed. But yeah, a tough way not to make the playoffs for Justin Thomas for sure.
But there are times when you text the G4 group and say they're just like us. Usually that's when there's like a missed putt or a shank shot. But just like us, man, don't be dropping that Gatorade until the clock hits all zeros. All right, let's get into our FedEx picks.
Okay.
And I mentioned this is a TPC course, par 70. I don't know how much you care about this. I went into all this stuff during the 3M Open.
Right.
And it got me nowhere because Lee Hodges won the 3M and quite frankly, quite easily from start to finish. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm counting 8 TPC stops. So far this year. The first 2 were won by Scotty Scheffler. Well, look at that. Look who's the favorite this week.
Scotty
and I
Scheffler.
get it. He's the number 1 player in the world. I understand that. But he's already won twice on a TPC setup. Now, that was way early in the season. His odds, though, to win this event, 6-1. Like, help me explain this. Help me understand how it could be just 6-1.
Well, for perspective, I think in the majors he was still 9 or 10-1.
Yeah.
So it's not
Which would have
unheard
been
of.
a 154 or 156 field.
There's only 70 people in this field.
Okay.
Which cutting off half of the competition.
Okay.
There's not.
So if you think of it that way, then maybe
Lee Hodges is in this field, but there's not a lot of other Lee Hodges rolling out there. So going to birdie their brains out.
Maybe if you think of it that way, he would be a 12-1 favorite in a full field.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plus, do you think any of this is related to his TPC performances or no?
I think it's
Or
that.
am I
think he's just
Giglio-fying this?
No, I think there's part of that. I think he's the best player in the world. And weirdly enough, we've seen this in years. If you go look back at the playoff results, sometimes playoff results don't mirror major results. The guys that we think should do stuff in the majors, who maybe underperformed. And it's hard to say Scotty underperformed in majors because he had 3 top 10s. Like he had 3 top 10s, except for but like he didn't win. And I think everybody expected him to win at least one.
Yeah, he hasn't won since the Players
this year.
And he's been in the top, he had been in the top 12 until
so I think there's
the Open Championship.
Playoffs. It's not a new season, but it's something different. They're playing for now. It's just about the money.
Yes,
bunch of money,
a lot of money.
Getting back, and I think I could see him having a very good week this week with maybe you didn't win a major. What's going on? You've been off a few weeks. I might would take him, to be honest with you, which sounds crazy.
I mean, I just hate the odds. That's all.
But
I woke up this morning thinking I was going to drive to Virginia.
But you hate why do you hate the odds? Because the payout, you don't think the payout's justified? And sometimes, some point, you just need to look at it and be like, this is a team that's going to win. This is the payout if they do so.
Right.
And you just have to do when Tom Brady was with the Patriots and their futures to win NFC East for years and years and years were probably awful. The odds weren't great. They were getting no value.
AFC East. Yeah.
AFC East. You probably should just lay the money.
There's still value in winning.
Take the win.
The value is in winning.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. We'll get back to that discussion here in a minute. Let's start with some top 20 choices. Again, we've got only 70 players in this field, so the odds even to finish in the top 20 are not like last week with Brendan Todd plus 490, not really on the board here for some of the players that we're going to want to take.
Sure.
But give me your first pick, top 20 finish for. Oh no, yeah, let's do top 20s and we'll go back and do the FRLs.
That's fine. I kind of using a little bit from last week. To make it to next week's BMW Championship, you have to be in the top 50 of the FedExCup. So 20 guys are going to be gone. No cut. I didn't look at the math, but I'm just assuming a guy like Thomas Dietrich, he's going to be my top 20 pick. He's couple reasons. He's 52 currently in the FedExCup. He doesn't have to go win this week to make it the next week, but he probably needs to jump a couple people, and to get there, top 20 will likely do it. I think he's plus 330. To do so. And something else that's going on behind the scenes too is that this year's unique. It's a Ryder Cup year.
Okay.
The way that the European teams and US teams kind of do it are pretty similar. You get points accumulated throughout the year. If you finish in the top 6 of points, you are automatically on the Ryder Cup. And then there's players picks or captains picks after that. And a lot of times the captain picks goes to the guys that are playing well at the time, right? For the most part. And leave the Justin Thomases out of it. He's a unicorn. But Thomas Dietrich's right outside the top 12 of the Ryder Cup standings right now. Probably needs to put together a couple good results to get some looks for making the team. So I'm going to have him as a top 20 at plus 330. I like the odds on that.
Plus 250 on the FanDuels. So just in case you see it.
If you shop around, I'm using the lines or
plus 250 on the FanDuel.
That's fine.
Because we're making a naked attempt at trying to get FanDuel to be
a
sponsor of this program. But Dietrich plus 250. All right. Last week I was burned by Alex Smalley because I was like, hey, he's a member. Hey, he's been playing well. Hey, he's going to do well in the Wyndham. And I think he was 1 under, didn't make the cut. So it's not like he played poorly in one day where it was, I think he played 2 basically normal rounds of golf, which isn't going to fly when other people are shooting a 62 though.
Correct.
So it doesn't make the cut, probably feeling a little bit of that stress of all those people being there, a little bit of that pressure.
Right.
Just as I gave up on Lucas Glover too early, I am not going to give up on Alex Smalley too early because I feel like I'm usually a week early on golfers.
Okay. So you're like using your own single gambling weirdness to validate this decision. Okay.
Yes. So I'm going back to Alex Smalley for a top 20 at plus 270. And that's where I'm going with this one. So I got Alex Smalley back in the books. Let's go to the first round leader after first round on this vernacular here. And these odds are much better than the winners. So I'm curious, Josh, how are you going to handle first round leaders in a week where there's only 70 golfers and we're probably not going to hit your 40-1 threshold, or are we?
Well, I guess I'm just moving my threshold down a little bit. So I kind of started at the 30-1 number. And like you said, 70 guys. So there's not as many drastic odds.
Ooh, there's some names I see that you're going to take.
Well, there's a few. So like last week, who makes a lot of birdies, course history, and who's playing well going into this. Course history guy, Bermuda Burns, Sam Burns. Sam Burns has played well here before. He finished second 2 years ago, top 20 last year. He's 30-1.
Okay. 33.
33-1.
Yeah.
I'll read the names out and okay. This guy, next one.
Burns I saw in person last week because he was in the group with JT.
Okay.
Just a big kid, like way bigger than I thought. Way
Justin
more
Thomas
solid.
also probably way smaller than you would think.
Yes. Yeah. But Burns has had a weird year. I feel like last year was the Sam Burns year.
Yes.
And this year he's kind of sort of just been there.
Correct.
Not really having one of those dialed in years.
He's just another guy.
But physically has every tool you could possibly hope for.
My next one, Can't quit him. He could play golf on the moon. Tommy Fleetwood, 35 to 1 is the number that I saw earlier. It looks like it's 35 or 33 to 1. Is that right? 33 to 1. Tommy Fleetwood to be the first round leader. I think he's got a little bit of motivation. Post Open, when the world was, he had everyone on his back.
Same premise as Smalley.
Didn't play well that final day. Tommy's been a good player. I like him as a first round, and he was first round leader of the Open. So he's a guy that can go out there and shoot, make a bunch of birdies. And instead of my normal like 12 or 15, I only did like 7 or 8 because the field's just smaller. Sepp Straka,
my guy.
He's a guy that's played well. He won 3M or Rocket or one of those.
JD, John Deere.
Played well at the Open, trying to solidify his Ryder Cup position, makes a lot of birdies. 40 to 1. Love that. The Postman, JT Poston.
He's been balling.
He's been playing well. Last year's first round leader was shot a 62. He shot 64 last year in the first round. So he's seen this course, played well before. Been playing well, hasn't broken through yet. I like that. Siwoo Kim. Siwoo's kind of just been there too this year. Has it been like a Siwoo year?
No.
But he was the first round leader last year in this tournament. Shot 62. He's
also a par 70 specialist, in my opinion.
Siwoo, yes, 100%. Siwoo's a 50 to 1 guy. 2 more. This guy won here. Now, he won here in 2013. He shot a 61 here to lead the tournament in 2021. Harry English. Ball striker, absolute flusher. He's 55 to 1. Mm-hmm. And then my last one, guy that's made a bunch of birdies this year. I think he ranks top 10 in the PGA. Last year here, he was second after the first round. So shot 63. He knows how to make a lot of birdies. Sahith, 80 to 1.
Yeah.
80 to 1. Those are my 7
55
plays.
to 1, but yeah.
What is it?
55 to 1 on Sahith.
I must have seen a better odds somewhere.
Yes.
Oh, if you scroll over on the thing, I think there's like MGM or whatever. That's fine. 55 to 1's fine.
All right.
There's my 7.
All right. I don't disagree with any of those. It'll be interesting to see how it kind of holds up with a smaller field.
It'd be done quicker because I think they're just going off. There's not a first.
They are really slow. I figured that out last week when I was in Greensboro. Like, it's like painfully slow. Because you know me, I like to get that thing going.
We play fast.
And like, but that's the difference between us is like they want to make every putt, and it means
so they read
hundreds
like
of thousands of dollars. Yes. And like, I mean, and you could tell like certain players are down with, playing fast, and keeping it moving, and understanding that yes, they know how to read a putt. Like Jason Duffner, like was like putted it and was like moved over to the next tee.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I'm ready. Meanwhile, like, the other guys were still reading the green and trying to figure it out. So I could tell there's some guys who are like, I've done this before. I'm not all that interested in it anymore. All right. So I have faith in the Josh system. I don't know what we want to call it, but let's move over to top 10. So my top 10 pick this week is going to be the player that I believe in. He's a player that's hot, and he's a player. How's this for some ham-fisted logic?
Okay.
The last par 73 TPC course was the Travelers.
Okay.
And he finished second there. That's the little B, Brian Harmon. Of course, he then went on to win the Open Championship. So the question is he totally satiated with his first major? Is he still hungry to prove that wasn't a fluke? He's also a guy who was absolutely balling before the Open. So my question is, on a par 70 course, the little B is not a bomber. We all know this.
Driving accuracy.
But he is a guy who can play on those par 70s. So he's plus 360 to finish in the top 10.
I like that.
I like that value this week, even though he could be fat and happy right now.
Sure.
I don't know. But he is my pick this week for top 10. Brian Harmon, plus 360. Who do you have for the top 10?
This guy won earlier this year. Kind of went through a weird spell in the summer of just not being relevant or part of the conversation, but he's a major champion from last year. Matt Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
Plus 310, finished top 5 here last year, has some course knowledge, has played well here before. Like, he had a weird stretch of that Travelers Scottish British of he missed the cut and like T50 the other two. Didn't really do anything. I kind of putting him on the same line as like Scotty Scheffler, maybe just a reset. Like hadn't played in a while, just get the, we're past major season. It's time to make
his
some
brother
money.
played better than him at the Open.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
not that his brother isn't a professional golfer,
but plus 310 for Matt Fitzpatrick is where I'm going for that.
I guess that also gets to my question. Like, when do you know a guy's going to pop? Because I feel like we're due a Jordan Spieth weekend. I mean, he hasn't done anything all year.
Yeah.
Like all year.
He's due. Yeah.
And if a guy's going to play, if he's going to play well, I think of him as a par 70.
These playoff
events.
These are like where the Xanders and the Cantlays like feast. These playoff events, like there's not the
Cantley from 2 years ago, yeah.
But there's not the just I think not being in major mode now and just like winning a lot of money and being top 5, whatever is a kind of a different deal. And maybe Spieth, to your point, kind of gets out of whatever's been happening this week and contends.
You said major champion won earlier this year. I thought you were going to go with one of your guys, Jason Day.
No,
he won the Byron Nelson, which was a TPC course.
Yeah, are you?
No, no, you're the one who has a knack for finding someone who hasn't done it and it just kind of pops.
Yeah,
like JT last year at the PGA.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that was just kind of out of nowhere.
Right. He also came back from 6 shots on the back 9 or just something stupid. But yeah,
I mean, he got some help,
but
along the way,
he was there. You still had to play well to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's go for some winners here.
Okay, because
I feel like I was on the right train, and I gave up on my guy.
Okay,
but talk me out of Scheffler.
I don't think I can.
Okay.
I mean, what is he this year? He had been top 10 every event before the Open. Is that right?
I think he was top 12.
Best player. Wants the major season back this year for sure, but I think the playoffs, there's still some appeal to winning this playoff thing, putting a strangle on it. If he wins here, it's almost like, how are you going to?
Is this a Josh tells Joe, wait until the first round is over,
and
then
drive to Danville,
Virginia?
I mean, no, because what if he goes out there and is 2 back after round 1? His number won't get any better.
Okay. All right.
Most likely.
He's been in the top 10 15 times this year. He's got 2 wins. Both of those are on a TPC course. Here, I'll switch to this tab. We can look at what he's done late. I guess you want to go lately?
Yeah. I mean, but even before lately, like he's just there.
Yeah.
His ball, this is a driving.
So Phoenix was the TPC.
Yeah.
Players TPC. Match play finished 4th, 10, 11, 5. I mean, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3. And then obviously did not play well on the 2nd and 3rd days of the Open Championship, but was right there for the Scottish Travelers, another TPC course, right there, top 4, had a 2nd round 70, which obviously hurt him.
I think this is a don't overthink it pick.
I'm gonna say that's my pick.
Okay,
that's my initial pick.
I think
I'm gonna give you one more.
I don't think you're like, it's still golf. He might finish 2nd, and that's a normal Joe thing to happen.
Right.
But like, if you're dying with Scotty Scheffler, like, then at some point you got to take what the value is and just go for it. He's up there enough.
6-1.
Yeah,
that's my pick. That's who I woke up this morning.
But if he was 10-1, you'd think that was great, right?
I would
think about that,
right?
And he still would be like, if the numbers were, he would just be the second favorite at that point instead of the favorite.
All right.
Stick with it.
I'll give you my second pick too.
Okay.
And it may not make any sense because I can't quit him. He was my Open Championship pick. The young Hove, Victor Hovland, 20-1. See, now that's a nice little pop, seeing as how I had 12-1 at the freaking Open. 20-1 is nice for him.
Well, the numbers are pretty like, after it's Scheffler, Rahm, McIlroy.
Yes.
Then there's a little bit of a jump
to Cantlay.
Cantlay
ain't winning this event. Come on.
You finally listened to me.
I know.
Is not winning this thing. You finally listened.
The
to
Hove
me.
was 3rd at Players. Listen, here are the last 4 winners on this course. Okay. Zally, pure Will Zalatoris, pure ball striker. Honest Abe answer.
Ball striker.
A bunter and a ball striker. JT, ball striker. And then Koepka, who's just a freak of nature in 19.
And then if you go back, Daniel Berger had that stretch where he won year after, and he wasn't bombing it. He just ball striker.
Par 70, ball striker. That, I mean, I don't know how that isn't Hove.
I like it.
I feel like those are two relatively safe picks, even though the Scheffler one, the return sucks. What do you have for your winners? You want one or you want two? How many you want?
I'll give you two.
Okay.
Fleetwood.
Tommy.
He's got to win.
28-1.
Has never won.
Has not won in the United States.
U.S. soil. 28-1. Playing well. He's always there. I feel like every tournament he's in, he's always there. He's around there. 28-1. I like the value. And the other one, it's this time of year. Big Tone. Tony Finau.
Where he be now?
Sneaky. A playoff, like shows up in the playoffs.
40-1.
40-1 to win.
He obviously balled out last year in the playoffs.
Yeah. He hasn't done much. Maybe he's kind of reverse. You know how we talk about guys being in the tank? Tony's kind of been in the tank all
the
year.
Whole year. He hasn't, since he like rattled off like 4 wins and
he hasn't
starts.
really done anything. And so I think time to play for a lot of money. He's a guy that can go make a bunch of birdies and go really, really low. I like Tony. 40-1.
So do we change our philosophy next week when we get to
when there's only 50 guys to choose from?
50?
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
I mean, I felt good going into last week. I felt good when I saw Denny Mac on the course. He birdied the hole I was watching. And I even told him, like, this is coming home for you. Am I not paying attention to Denny Mac? Do I need to rethink that I'm always a week? No.
I think you're fine. I think you may have got caught up a little bit with like the course North Carolina stuff last week.
But I was kind of sort of right because the Clemson guy won.
Yeah, but you didn't say.
No, I did not. And I had him the week before. That's the crazy part about Lucas Glover. Because
what was the stat that was going around the G4 thing? He was number one in proximity this year, but like number 150 putting. It's just something.
Well, he had the yips.
Gross.
And
right.
He switched to the the longer
putter. No one could have seen. I don't know. I don't think you could have seen Lucas Glover winning last
Not
week.
After missing the cut at the 3M and after I picked him to win the 3M. So, all right. Well, you want to talk about NC State football yet, or you want to save that for another day? You feeling good about the receiver?
The Rice kid?
No, the big recruit.
Oh, Taylor. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what comes in. NIL changes everything. I don't think State's going to be a team who's going to always pay for the high school kid.
Yeah.
It's just not their game. A, they don't have the fun. B, it's just not their game.
I'd rather have a proven player. Like I didn't mind Armstrong.
But I think you got to play in that world a little bit.
Show that you will, or
a little bit.
Okay. Well, he's a local kid.
So I think it's a good pickup and probably a player of need. To be honest with you, too. Like,
definitely need
maybe
receivers.
Just more skill, just more
speed,
fast skill players and such. And you could, it was a good pickup for them. But God, high school kids are so weird. And NIL, who knows? But I'm not going to go there anymore. Who knows what might happen? But good pickup, and maybe he'll recruit some other kids to come join.
Are you going to the UConn game?
I am.
That is the question.
I am.
You're not prepared for a heartbreak in the UConn game, are you?
No, they're not going to lose that one.
Okay.
You know my theory.
I know your theory. When they play teams, they have better talent than they win,
and
they have better talent
90% of the time. And
yeah. All right.
They're not gonna. They won't lose that game.
I'm starting to feel better about them going 7-5, and I know you're not happy even with me saying 7-5, but I am starting to feel better about the chances of 7-5. I just think their schedule is harder. Than we're talking about.
Well, and this is where me and you,
I just don't see the layups.
This is where me and you, I don't think disagrees it's the right word, but like neither of us are wrong.
Okay.
I think if you're trying to make a bowl, having your hardest games on the road.
Oh, on the road. Okay.
Having your hardest game, like your guaranteed losses on the road and like 6 winnable games at home is if you're a team that I just want to make a bowl.
Right.
I think State's a little past that.
Okay.
And so if their aspirations are, you know what, maybe this is the year without divisions. We can sustain the losing to Clemson and it won't like kill us. And we don't have to play Florida State and all these other things. So if you think of it on that sense, having your hardest ones at home,
helpful.
Get a little home field advantage, home cooking. I
love the home schedule. Please don't get me wrong.
I think they're going to be. I'm actually feeling better. I saw a number come out. Some of the game of the year's number came out this week. The Notre Dame number came out 7. I think State's going to beat Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's favored by 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think State's going to beat Notre Dame.
Why?
I don't think this is yet. I don't think it's the same Notre Dame team that beat that they beat up on State 6-7 years ago.
Oh, the one that just pushed them
around. And I think from a defensive standpoint, if we've learned anything about Tony Gibson and they lost guys, but like he has earned I trust that whoever's behind him is going to be a player and such. So I don't think that they're going to come and run over State like they ran over UNC last year.
Yeah, they've run over everybody though.
Right, but I just
28 straight against ACC teams.
Yeah.
I
just think it's a good spot.
Okay,
hot as crap. Home game. I actually think
you'll be happy if they go 7-5 and pop one of those wins.
Maybe. I think their biggest games are the 2 at the end of September. The Virginia and Louisville back to back.
If they have problems with Virginia,
that's what I'm getting at. No, that's what I'm getting at. If there's, we've talked about, is there a path for them to get to 9 or 10? And the answer is probably like, how do you look at Virginia and how do you look against Louisville? If you go 2-0, your things may change a little bit. And beating Virginia, beating Louisville.
Yeah, I'm worried about that game. I'm worried about.
But you're in on Louisville.
I am.
That's the thing.
I am. I think they're going to be really good.
They might. It's weird when
it's irrational.
It's weird when if you're imagine a world where you would say that this team's hardest conference game is NC State, but that's where Louisville's is. I think there are other conference game that might get up there as Pitt, but from a home field advantage, like State's probably a tougher place to play in right now than Pitt. So
absolutely,
State being Louisville's toughest conference game is kind of funny to me, just saying that out loud, but it's the truth.
All right, well, we just keep supplying winners on this podcast. Hopefully we'll keep that going this week because I don't want to dump the Gatorade the way that Jim Nance did, but
no,
I feel good.
I'm feeling another folks text this week. I'm feeling it.
Put it in the chamber. Let's do it. We'll be back next week on more Picks and Pizza.